I'm not the house of cards that falls down easily. I'm strong enough to handle what you throw at me.
Welcome to Mental Health News Radio. I'm your host, Kristin Sunanta Walker. Just what are we going to discuss? The intimacy that is mental health. Let's continue to make it as comfortable as discussing brain health or heart health. This show has been on the air for several years, and we have amazing co-hosts. And then we created a network of podcasters on mentalhealthnewsradionetwork.com, a place where every possible facet of mental well-being can be talked about openly. My show, after several hundred interviews, the format is this: intimate, deep, funny, touching, sometimes uncomfortable, but always vulnerable conversations with interesting people. The goal is to have you, our listening family, many of you who have become my good friends, feel as though you are listening in on private conversations. Thank you for tuning in and becoming part of this amazing journey with me, and now with our network of podcasters. Just knowing this podcast might be helping any of you realize you are not alone on this journey called being a human being makes doing this podcast worth every second.
After all, we promised we'd be cordial.
Hey everyone, I have a new podcaster on the network. His name is Paul David, and the show is The Paul David Effect. And I will be a listener of this show, and I also am going to work really hard to help this man do what he does over webcam, do it over webcasting, because he's got a unique, well, it's not unique because a lot of people use it, but it's unique and that his actually works. So without further ado, we'll find out who he is and what his podcast is all about right now. Paul, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Kristin. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So you've got an interesting story, and we've been talking about it a little bit before I hit record. We weren't supposed to do a show today. And then I said, okay, wait a minute, stop. I need to record this. So tell our listeners what it is that you do and what you're going to be talking about. And then we'll take it from there, because I definitely want them to know who you are, where you came from, all that. So what do you do, and what are you going to talk about on your show, The Paul David Effect?
Well, I'm a personal trainer and slash motivational speaker guy slash nutritionist. I have my own small studio in Michigan, and I train people one-on-one, and I like training people one-on-one because I like to go in depth and talk to them about the real problem, why they're not reaching their goals. And that could be losing weight or staying consistent or looking good in clothes or getting ready for a wedding or a vacation or whatever. And I didn't want to work for a gym because I feel like getting your body ready or even being fit or getting to a level where you want to be fit or reach a goal all comes from mental toughness. It has nothing to do with your body. It has nothing to do, your brain will tell your body what to do. If you're not mentally there and you're not mentally tough, it's very difficult to reach your goals. And that's why I wanted to open up my own small studio to talk to people one-on-one. I train people one-on-one, and I talk to people one-on-one because I want to know and reach the problem that they're hitting and why they're not reaching their goal. That's kind of my background. I started doing this about 10 years ago. I've been doing martial arts, and I've been active playing soccer and all that stuff and for a long time. And
you have a degree in engineering, right?
Yes. I have a degree in engineering and computer engineering, and I worked in corporate for 4 or 5 years, and I wasn't happy. I was doing good and making money and everything, but I wasn't happy. Apparently I wasn't fulfilling something in my life. So I always knew that I'm good at this and good at talking to people, especially what my background is and where I come from and what's happened to me. And I decided to do this. So I started doing this. I used to live in Arizona. I started doing this in Arizona for about a year, and I just loved it so much. When I moved back to Michigan, I continued doing it. I had a job lined up. My buddy had a job lined up for me in an engineering firm, and I decided not to go for that and just do this. So I've been doing that since then, and it's just evolved into everything else, like helping people cook and teaching them about food and how important food it is, not only for your body and how it affects your mind and your mood and everything else, and how everything is linked. Everything is linked. Yeah, mentally and physically is linked. You have to have that connection. If you don't accept that connection, you won't get there.
Right. So Paul, I mean, there are a lot of people out there that say they're, into fitness and, they'll help you with this, that, and the other. And I have my own thing around that with, when it comes to the mental health world, and we'll get into that. But I love the fact that you wanted your show to be on a mental health network. But I'd like my listeners to know, and your listeners to know, why that piece was important to you.
Honestly, uh, since I've been in this industry and I've been training people, I've been spending time with people one on one, where we really talk about what the problem is, why they're not reaching their goal. Everything is linked to what their mental status is. This is kind of, I, I don't like saying this, but when my clients come in, I convince them that they're addicts because it has an addiction linked to mental addiction to food. So if you don't accept that fact, and it all starts with that, if you don't accept that fact and trying to fix it, you're never going to get there. So that's what I mean. It evolved into this. Originally I was training people, telling people what to eat. I started realizing this is not what this is. It's a mental issue. It's mental toughness. It's discipline. Is also what foods you're eating that's affecting your brain and affecting you mentally. How to not to stay focused and everything else. For example, my philosophy is don't eat sugar at all, because everything that I've read about sugar and read books about sugar, it has the same effect as cocaine on your brain.
Mm.
So if you do that, even if you think you're doing in moderation, you can't control it anymore, because now you're an addict with that without you knowing. You've created an addiction. And your brain is the most powerful muscle in your body. So if you're getting your brain, the most powerful muscle in your body, addicted to something which is bad for you, it's just going to drizzle down to your body. It's just going to affect the rest of your life, affect your body on not getting there, affect your sleep, affect your communication with your family members, affect everything. I think everything is connected, and it's all connected with what you feed your brain and how you are mentally. What's your mental status? How are you mentally?
I want to get into more of that, but first, because I know my own journey with depression and trauma and all that, and I certainly know many, many of my listeners that have emailed and so on. So there's a reason why I want to go into this piece next, and then we'll follow up with my questions. I'd really like you to talk about how you grew up, where you're coming from when you talk about this. I want the listeners to know what your life experience has been, so that they don't just go, oh, whatever, another person's saying I need to be mentally tough, I'm depressed, whatever. I think if they know who you
Yes.
are and
Yes.
what you've been through, they'll go like, I just did. Whoa. Okay. So please share with us
Yes.
about you.
I'm going to try to compress my story into a small version. Uh, I was born in Baghdad, Iraq. Um, we we had a good life in Iraq. Well, my family did. My family was a successful family. My grandfather had businesses, and we were doing well and doing good, and we had money and everything. And as you know, or people know about Iraq or the Middle East, there was wars. So I lived through the Iran-Iraq war when I was a kid. My father was in the military for 14 years. It's just a different kind of living when you live in a place like that. So I remember the first time I realized that I didn't live in a normal place was there was a military base close to our house, maybe a mile away, and a missile hit a bridge on that in that military base, a bridge that was going across. And I remember the sound of that and seeing it from far away, and realizing I must have been like 6 years old, realizing that I live in a different place. And when you live in a place like that, Most people that live in a place like that, they adapt, they start adapting to where they live. So for other people and outsiders, if they see that, it's extreme, but for them, this is how they live, so I lived even things like that happen here and there, but I lived a normal life. I went to school, I was smart, I was ahead of my class 2 years ahead. I had friends and everything was normal, but there was a Gulf War that happened, and I was there during the Gulf War, which is the first televised war.
Right.
And I was there. I was there in Baghdad. I was 9 years old, and there was bombings every day for 4 months. So that was the shock that happened in my mind. So it created a lot of problems for me, and I don't know why, but maybe it was just me, or I don't know why, but I started dealing with it differently. So I would stay quiet. I would keep everything inside. I would try to deal with it and have internal conversations with myself to get through it. And I even didn't cry, like, ever since, like, I was 7 years old. And my parents tell me all the time that they were worried about me because I would never cry for a long time, for about 15 years. So I kept everything inside, but somehow I was able to create this formula to move on and continue. So when there was time to play, I played and I was happy, but I still had this thing inside. And when during the Gulf War, it was very hard. And I saw a lot of things that a kid or a child shouldn't see.
Right.
And it just, I felt like life gave me this and calcified my brain, so it just happened to be that it's in this tragedy form, but what I'm trying to say is gave me mental toughness more than anyone that I know as a kid, and that just developed more and more and more and more, and that's why honestly I was able to do whatever I can do. I moved to 7 countries, lived as a refugee for 4 years. I learned 3 languages. When I came to the United States, I was 13 years old. They threw me in 7th grade. I did not know how to speak one English word, nothing. English was my first language. And
Your
I
fourth
remember
language.
4th language. Sorry,
Right.
you're right.
That's
4th language.
okay.
Yes. Uh, I remember, and I had other friends that they were there and they were foreigners and they came a similar time. They took different paths, they quit school. They worked in a gas station, or they did this and that. And I don't know, they went to jail. I don't know. Because it's too hard. It's very difficult, and I remember me opening up a dictionary that translated Greek to English so I can read this questionnaire that the teacher gave me to understand what the question says and then try to answer it. So if someone that knew how to speak English or was born here, would take them 5 minutes to do this, it would take me an hour and a half to do it.
Right.
I remember still doing it. And not because, my parents pushed education on me a lot, but since I was a kid, I did my own thing all the time. So they weren't on top of me all the time with that. I just did it because I created this thing in my mind that there is no option. I don't give myself options. I just say, I have to do it. It didn't work. I have to do this. It didn't work. I have to do this. I don't give myself an option to veer away and move to the other aisle. That's why I'm able to even fail, which makes me just stronger when you fail, but never quit. That's the thing. Never quit. That's the main thing that people need to understand, is that they confuse quitting with failing. It's okay to fail. It's okay to move from one place to another, from one job to another, different careers. That's not the point. The point is not to quit. When you quit and quit your life, you quit everything in your life. Everything, including the way you look, your family, your whatever, your relationship with your friends, everything suffers. And people decide to quit sometimes because life is hard.
Right.
And I'm so used to having life being hard that when life is easy, I'm uncomfortable. I'm really comfortable with being uncomfortable. I'm really comfortable with it. I like to put myself in uncomfortable situations because it makes me feel good. That's how my brain works. And that's the thing. That's why I tell people all the time, like, I know you're not comfortable doing this, but just get uncomfortable. For example, all my videos on Instagram or YouTube is me wearing sweatpants, 2 shirts, and a hoodie. And I do Stairmaster that way in July all year.
Oh, yeah.
And people say, are you doing that to sweat? No, I don't do it to sweat. I do it because I'm in the zone. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel warm. It makes me feel uncomfortable, like I'm alive. I don't want air conditioning on me. I don't want air on me. I want to be in that uncomfortable part where it's going to make me sharper. You know what I mean?
Yep. It sounds like, all the interviews I've done with neuroscientists and other doctors about creating neural pathways that, you happen to create some as a kid that really, were about being very resilient and keeping you able to just
Yes.
stay on those tracks. Or if you veer off track, get right back on. And I was thinking about today, I was doing a meditation, and the person I was listening to, Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's amazing. He was talking about how when we get in a habit or we get in a routine, and I don't mean, a really good routine, but our brain gets bored. We go into sort of autopilot mode, and we can get in a routine of
Yes.
not being very healthy, not living very healthy, especially if we're depressed or we're still dealing with unresolved trauma, that kind of thing. And it made me realize, oh my gosh, I moved a lot. Like I moved 22 houses and in multiple different states and a couple countries over the course of 22 years. I did that without realizing that that was good for me, that was me trying to help me jump a track.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Um, it's exactly what you're saying. And that's what's surprising. It's not surprising, but what we don't realize is most people are dealing with the same thing.
Yeah.
But they just don't know it. They just don't know it until we talk about it. Um, my clients tell me all the time, well, I wish I can be like you. Well, I'm not like you. I don't sit here and explain to them what's happened to me. I just say, how you have problems, I have problems too. I know you're looking at me and you're saying how disciplined I am, how perfect I look good. I do the same thing. I never fall off the train. But I have thoughts of falling off the train all the time, every day, every minute. I have to convince myself that that's not an option. In my opinion, a lot of options sometimes is dangerous, very dangerous.
That's
So
true. That's
because
true.
yeah, so even growing up in other countries, when we went to a market, we bought food just for that day, or maybe 2 days. We cook it, we eat it, and that's it. When I came here and I went to a supermarket and just looking at the option of foods, how could a normal human being not eat all that food and
Right.
not fall off the train? Of course, there's impossible. I mean, there's not only so many options, but it's available 24 hours. I can go and eat a Twinkie at 3 a.m. at Walmart. Like that's
So
crazy.
what you're saying is my also only getting what I need to eat each day is actually me doing something that's good for the way I live.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
interesting. Because I
And
literally do
it's
not keep
okay.
stuff in my house. Because if I did, I would overeat it. I would eat it. So I just only get what I need to eat
Yes.
for that day.
Yep. And that would be the best option. I know a lot of people don't have that option because
Right.
they live in cities and it's hard to drive. You got to go far. You have kids. You have a lot of things to do. So there is an alternative to that. There you could buy in bulk, but clean and meal
Right.
prep. That's what I do.
Yeah.
So what you need to stay away from is the maze. The maze are the aisles inside in the middle of the store.
Right.
That's why they create it in the middle of the store, because it's a maze. It's a rat maze. You go from one aisle to another without, even though you're not looking for a specific thing, you're just going from one aisle to another for you to pick up random things. If you stay outside of the store, the outside ring of the store, it's all the fresh stuff.
Right.
And all the bad stuff are in the middle to keep you in that maze. So
Yeah.
even think even thinking about it like that in technical terms, how the industry and the supermarkets and the foods, what they do to trick you to do that. And all they need to do is introduce cocaine to your brain real quick, because
Right.
every single food that's packaged has sugar in it. If it's fake or if it's real, it has sugar in it. And sugar will not only destroy your brain, but destroy your body. It will deteriorate your body. Um, New studies are finding sugar being linked directly to growing cancer in your body, directly to growing cancer in your body. So, again, sugar, I'm talking about sugar that's in processed food and food that is packaged. Stay on fresh stuff. Go buy fruit and eat fruit. It has good sugar in it. Buy raw honey, eat that. It has sugar in it. These are the steps that people need to make that to get to where they need to get and to live that lifestyle. Because when people start thinking about, most people are thinking very, very short-term goals when it comes to this. I got to get ready for a wedding. I got to get ready for a vacation. That's the wrong way to think about it. You can't do that. You have to make it a lifestyle. I always say to people, look good naked all year, all year. You can't, if you think that way, or look good in your clothes, feel good in your clothes, sleep good all year, not periods of the year, not for the summer because you're going to the beach. That's the kind of
What about, that's
small,
short term.
yeah.
What about people
Yep.
who, they've had whatever their, their issues are, but they have really, they're beyond what the hell am I talking? I'm talking about myself here. What if you're approaching 50 and you've gone up and down with
Yes.
your weight your whole, since my 30s, and you are never going to get the body that you'd feel comfortable in a bathing suit in? It's just not going to happen
Yes.
without plastic surgery. How do you help someone
Yes.
get motivated? Because I have a hard time with, I'm not, I tell myself, I don't care, which is very demotivating.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm not out
Yes.
to, have a bikini body, for God's sakes, never. And going to happen
Right.
in a million. I didn't even want to wear a
Right.
bikini. When I did have a bikini body, you wouldn't have caught me, in one. But what do you say to,
Right.
because a lot of your clients are women, what do you say to, someone who, you're just, they're not going to have that kind of a, a body, but they still need that motivation.
Yes. Well, and when people come in, let's say a woman comes in that's 50, 55 and overweight. She's never worked out in her life, or she's been up and down, and she's at the point, like you said, can't get the body that she's looking at somebody else or whatever. This is what I tell my clients is, don't look at me. You're never going to look like me. You're never going to look like me. I tell people this all the time. Because you're trying to create a version of yourself, create a better version of yourself. That's all you can do. That's all I can do. I can't look at Arnold and say, I want to be like him. He's 6'2". I'm 5'5". It's not going to work out. I'm going to look, that doesn't mean I'm not going to look good. I'm still going to look good. I'm creating a better version of me. So even if you're older or overweight and it's hard, you have to get on the train of this is helping you not only physically, but mentally,
Right.
because it's not too late. 50 is not too late. In other countries, 50 is half, people live until 90.
Right.
Back home, it's normal to die when you're 95 and 97 and 100. We've just made 50, we've made 50 old because of the process that we went through life, and we've destroyed our bodies. I mean, back home in other countries, people walk all the time.
Right.
People are active. They take care of grandchildren. They have a garden. They do things. So I'm not saying everyone's fit, but everyone's comfortable with the way they look because they're active and they're eating good, and they're eating, all the food is not processed. It's no pesticides. There's no antibiotics. It's nothing like that. So it's just hard because we live here and there's access to it, and no one is helping us or telling us not to do it because the industry is based on making money.
Right.
That's it. No one's looking out for us. So if you're not looking out for yourself, no one's going to look out for you. But it's not too late. You can still wear a one-piece bathing suit and go to the beach and feel good. Yeah, you can. Of course you can. You're not going to look like a model because why are you looking at other models? Just create a better version of yourself. That's all
they don't
is.
really
It's
look like that
good.
either.
Yes, I know.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't care about wearing a bathing suit, but just that feeling, it's for me, it's that feeling of just, you just feel stronger. And so you carry yourself better and you feel more
Yes,
attractive. I'm not looking for, people looking at me and thinking I'm attractive, because I don't care about that. But I feel more attractive for myself when I'm
yes,
caring for
100%.
myself that way. So how do you
Yes, yes,
how have you dealt
yes,
with people, or work with people who, yeah, they're really depressed? I mean, they're clinically depressed, and so
yes,
the last thing that they want to do, or that they feel that's part of why depression is depression, is
yes,
get off their rear and exercise, which is the number one help for it. Or at least it's not a cure, because
yes.
I'm never someone that's going to say, oh, just go take vitamins and work out. I want to bitch slap those people that say that.
No,
But
no,
getting someone
no.
who is in a severe depression to do it will help, even if it just helps a little bit. But getting them to do it is really difficult.
Yes, it is very difficult. I know people like this in my life. I have clients and I know personal people like this in my life. And the only way is to try every day. That's
Yeah.
it, to talk about it. That's what I do. I just keep talking to them. Hey, how you doing? How's it going? How'd you eat? It's okay. I know you messed up. It's all
Mm,
good. Let's just take it one. I live my life 1 hour at a time. For real, I do. That's
yeah.
what I do.
Me too.
I prep, I get ready, but I just live 1 hour. Hey, I did this thing right now. I got to do the Stairmaster because I might not make it. I might get hit by a car. I don't know. I got to do the Stairmaster. That's my part of my goal today. That's what I'm doing. I just go one step at a time. And that's what I tell those people, and it's hard because they're thinking about other stuff and they're thinking about things that making them depressed, whatever it is in their life. But I always tell them, I'm like, look at this as a tool. Look at this as you're depressed all day, and this is a nice jacuzzi you can sit in.
Mm,
Make it part of your life. It's going to relax you. It's going to relax you mentally and physically. And once you start feeling a little bit better, once those happy endorphins kick up in your body and in your brain, you're going to start feeling a little bit better. You're going to get that. You're going to be addicted to that feeling. And
right.
you might get on the train and do it for a year and then get depressed again. And that's going to happen. Get used to
That's
it.
me.
Get
Yeah.
used to it and be prepared for it because it happens to everybody. It happens to me. I've lived as a refugee. If people don't think I don't have depression, they're insane. Of course I had depression. I have to deal with it. I've been to psychiatrist. I have to go talk about it. I have to solve the problem. Sitting there not doing anything about it or picking this and that, it's not going to do anything for you. that's
Right.
that's what I'm talking about when people just quit. I hate it when people just quit. It's hard. I know it's hard. And some people that I know that have depression to that extreme, that way, I bring my background into it. I don't like to tell people where I come from, what happened to me, but I give them a little bit of synopsis of what happened to me. And just a little bit, just maybe they can get a little perspective of what their stuff was, what my stuff was as a kid. You know what I mean? And that's
Yeah.
helped few people that I've talked to. Like, oh man, I really thought I had a problem because I couldn't pay my car payment. Dude, that's not a problem. The problem is not having food to eat or sleeping in the street or not having electricity. That's a problem, man. Like, yeah, this is not a problem for you. Like even you're getting a divorce. Okay, that's not a problem. No one's coming to kill you. No
I
one.
know.
No one's coming to get you.
I used to say this to a friend of mine. I know you're struggling financially right now, and that is very real. But if you do not pay that bill on time, are you going to die? Well,
Exactly.
no.
Yep.
Okay. So
Exactly.
because same
No.
thing, a lot of trauma, it happens in your life, and you do get this different perspective of, okay, I have survived so much, so much
Exactly.
stuff that
Yeah.
I know what's
Yep.
really, and everybody struggles. I mean, I
Yes.
definitely,
Yep.
I've taken 3 years off to work on a lot of emotional healing stuff, which is physically exhausting. And I haven't felt strong enough to do anything too physical until recently. And you know what? That's okay. I'm not going to say that's a failure. The only thing that was a failure was me making it go on too long, saying, well, I might as well just give up because I'm never going to look even remotely good. Well, who cares? You're right.
That's what you got to do. Because you remember when you looked in the mirror and you looked good from last month, this is how we got to keep it. And we got to look better. We got to improve and look better, and we got to keep that, maintain it. So, so it's hard. It's hard. Of course, even in society, it's very hard.
Oh God. Yeah.
It's hard because there's
social media,
social life, there's social life, there's drinking. Yeah. Social media. Exactly. Social media, like we got to constantly put out content, social media, and a lot of it is fake and it's lies. So all those people are also unhappy. All those people also have depression. All those people also struggle, even though they look good, they show money, they have abs, they do all that stuff. We don't know what their life is, but they just have to put it out because that's what social media is. That's how people make money, So
and reality is it's not about being superficial. That it's a good that you can change it to being, okay, this is not about me looking good in the mirror. It's not about what I'm going to look like on the outside. It's about how I'm going to feel on the inside. Because I don't ever see myself. I don't ever see myself again standing in front of a mirror going, ooh, like I did when I was in my 20s or whatever. I don't see that as an important thing for me. It's what's important for me is feeling really good, feeling stronger, feeling like I really took care of myself.
Yes. And when you get on that path and that train of thought, just like you said, it's just feeling better, sleeping better, communicating with other people better, not being angry. If you get on the path of eating clean and working out, it will get you to that point of feeling good. While that's happening, your body is improving also, even though you don't care about that, but your body is making changes. That's how people don't get to that point to see the results. They don't. Because an average person that starts working out quits after 21 days. Quits. And it could take 25 days to make you feel good. You only needed 4 more days, and you didn't do it because you quit too early. So that's what I tell my clients all the time. Like they tell me, how long until I see this? I tell them, I don't know. I don't live with you. I only see you 1 hour a day. If you want to live with me, I can tell you how long this is going to take, exactly. But I only see you 1 hour. I don't know what you're doing when you go home. I don't know what's going on, It all depends on how serious you want to, how serious is this to you, this issue, and how focused do you want to be doing this?
How do you, podcasting is audio, and I know you have YouTube and you've got Instagram and so on. And so you're doing different mediums, but what made you think about wanting to do this as a podcast, just so our listeners know what kind of stuff they're going to hear?
I just wanted to start a podcast to talk about everything.
Right.
And not only my what I do, but everything. I just wanted to talk about, like, have a friend on or a guest on and just bullshit and talk about stuff. But then I wanted to incorporate important things in life. Why not incorporate things that I know that help me, so other people can benefit from them? So that was the main idea, honestly, to start the podcast. Yeah, I never thought about it like, I'm going to start this podcast, make money because I'm going to incorporate it part of my business. I just wanted to do it and have fun. Something a relief.
Yeah, that's the best reason to do it. I never started it, and I've been doing it for 8 years, and I will have people, and I'm not putting this down, but I will have people that will, do 4 shows and then go, oh God, this is a lot of work. How come I'm only getting, 50 listeners? When can we get me on Sirius with in the lineup with Howard Stern? And I'm like, oh my Lord. Or when can we get sponsors for $5,000 a month for a show? And I'm like, I told you from the beginning, if that's your motivation for doing a podcast, then you're totally not living in reality. So what I hear from you is you have figured it out in terms of, make yourself work out, care about the food that you put in your body, do this thing, but you did the procrastination thing about a podcast. I don't procrastinate about a podcast. I've done 3,000 interviews. So I'm able to do the same thing you do. It's just a different, like I'm able to do it in the podcast realm. You do it in the fitness realm. So I guess what I'm saying is
exactly
for every listener, everybody has their thing that they procrastinate about. And just because you all are good at working out and your body, your outward physical appearance shows it, it doesn't mean that you aren't procrastinating in other areas of your life, which makes it easier for people to go, oh, you're a human and you struggle too. So maybe they don't feel insecure about going to you for help.
100%. And that's the conversation with my clients or people around me, family members and everything, because the way I carry myself, the way I speak, the way I look, the things that I put out, people think that I'm perfect. Like people think that, man, I'm like, I wish I was this. And I got in contact with you and you're helping me with that. And how that happened, that they need the help in the part of their life to come to me to help them with the physical part.
Right.
Or the food part. So everyone needs that other strong person to help them in that aspect in their life. Everyone needs that. No one's walking around perfect. No one. So I had this conversation with all the people around me all the time. But it's hard for them to understand. But I have clients that run companies and they're very successful. They can have access to everything. They just can't get this fitness thing together.
Right. That would be me.
They've been with me 3 years and they keep falling off. We have an intervention. We talk about it and we get back on. They call me, they text me, but this is what it takes. And no one's going to get on this train and be there.
Paul, what I'd like to cover now for the last part of the show, and listeners, I want you to understand that I did this show specifically the way that I did because I know what it means to be a naysayer. And I also know, you all listen to me. And so we do have some commonality in that. And I thought, well, I don't want to bring someone that's going to talk about something like exercise to people who have struggled with depression, because then we tend to just go to shame. I thought if I guided Paul through what he does and then who he is and the things that he's been through, because that's what made me go, oh, okay, I'm going to get past all my stuff around, I'm just not going to listen to this fitness guy. It made me go, oh, he's been through some serious shite. He does this for a reason. There is no shame here. I thought maybe that would help you listen to what he has to say, like it did for me. So now we're going to talk about all that positive stuff and the ways that we procrastinate and how Paul motivates us. So Paul, how do you motivate people, especially people like us who are like, I am too depressed to exercise?
Kristin, honestly, what most people feel the same way as people think that only they are depressed, but most people feel the same way. I'm a motivating guy and I work out all the time and I eat clean and I'm pretty strict with everything. I had that same problem also. Even when I wake up on Monday or Sunday night or during the week, I have a bad day, I have a bad hour. I think the most important thing is that people need to realize that everyone's going through the same thing. Everyone. If you're fit, even the people that are on Instagram and social media, and they appear to be the happiest people in the world, those people are going through the same thing that you're going through. And the more you understand that and accept that fact, the more likely that you can get out of that lane and you can stay focused and get help by being part of a community. Just like I have my own personal training studio for a reason, to have an interaction one-on-one with my clients so we can talk about that. So I could tell them that, hey, I know you fell off 2 days ago. You did good for the last 10 days. And then 2 days ago, something happened. You fell off, whatever it was. You got depressed, whatever it was. I do the same thing. And I have to snap myself back into it. So I have to talk I have my own method. I talk to myself. I practice in the mirror. I talk to other people about it. That's why they need to talk to me about it. I need to talk to them about it. We need to talk, all of us, communicate about this thing that everyone has. And I think people get stuck in that mindset because they think they're the only one.
Right.
I think that's the most important part, is that people need to realize they're not the only one. Everyone has something. And honestly, what I do is, from my experiences and how I grew up, is I have this thing in my mind, is that if I fail in something or something happened that day, I accept the fact that this is happening to me. I take it and use it as energy, and I use it to be positive the next day or the next hour or that night. I don't let it go take over me all day. So if I wake up depressed in the morning, I just say, you know what? I already screwed everything up. It's 1 p.m. I was supposed to work out and eat breakfast, and I didn't do any of that. I'm not going to let that continue the rest of the day. I'm not going to stay in my pajamas and stay on the couch and then eat ice cream and then do other stuff and then not work. I'm going to start at 1 p.m. and start my day and stay positive and do whatever I can to accomplish whatever I can for that day. I think that's very important.
I think that shift too, because I've noticed that with myself. I mean, sometimes there have been times with what I'm going through where I needed to sleep more. I needed to rest a lot more than, I do at other times. But remembering that, you can change your mindset, like that about something. So to be able to make a shift immediately, the times when I just don't want to go anywhere, or I'm doing whatever it is I'm doing, to where I just don't, I'm going to stay in and I'm going to overanalyze everything and kind of go in a shame spiral or whatever. If I just get the hell out and even take a walk on my property, I feel better in that moment. And it's that leap from sitting in your stuff and getting out. And that leap can be as freaking wide as the Grand Canyon, or at least it feels like it.
Yes.
And that, you're right, looking for that
course.
excuse of, well, I've already blown it today, so I'll do it again tomorrow. No, I've already blown it up until this moment. My next moment can be something different.
Exactly. And most people say, but they struggle mentally being strong. That doesn't mean they didn't go through hard times and everything, but everything has been made easy for us. So we've created these soft minds, and we don't have to work very hard or do anything because everything's coming to us, even food delivery or whatever, so it's so much easier to just sit there and not do anything and watch a show and just binge and then just continue that day. And then, so people, even my clients, most people in the fitness world, this is what they do. They start eating clean. They eat clean for 10 days. And then now it's Wednesday. It's the 10th day. Thursday, they have a party they have to go to. They're going to do something bad. They're going to drink or whatever. Friday, they're going to go out with a friend that they haven't seen for a long time, and they're going to eat some bread or I don't know what. Then they're going to say, well, I already screwed up. I'm going to start again on Monday. That's the worst idea. That's the worst thing you can do to your brain, because you need to snap out of it immediately and go back to doing the regular stuff. Don't consider the weekend as something else. The weekend to me is just another day. I just count 7 days. I don't count the weekend. I just Sunday, Saturday, it doesn't mean anything to me. I do the same thing. Now, that doesn't mean I go so strict that I can't have anything. No, I can have whatever I want. I just choose the day that I'm going to do it. I choose the day that I'm going to have a burger. I choose the day that I'm going to have ice cream. I choose the day that I'm creating a pizza. I'm going to have pizza on this day because it's my friend's birthday and we're going out. I'm going to have pizza. If you do it randomly, if you do random things, that's how you get in that groove. That's how you get in that stuck mud. You're stuck in this mud.
If you do it randomly, you do that? Or if you pick always the weekend?
Yes. If you do it randomly and then it starts becoming a regular thing because it's the weekend. So randomly, what I mean is just on a Tuesday night, you've been doing good every day. And on a Tuesday night, you're like, I kind of deserve it today. So I'm going to eat ice cream and then go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
That's random.
Right.
That's a random thought. That's your brain telling you, hey, how about a line of cocaine?
Right.
Like, hey,
okay.
it's going to feel good. Yeah. So, but the weekend part is that the majority of society, we've created this thing on the weekend. That's the days that we're going to have fun. That's the days that we're going to go out and do things. And because of how the work schedule works in the United States, but it doesn't need to be like that. Saturday and Sunday, you should make it a regular day. I still want to do some sort of work on Saturday and Sunday. I still want to kind of work out. I still want to eat clean. I could eat something bad here and there one time, but not all day. So people, when they're not mentally there or not mentally strong, all they need is that feeling that the weekend is coming, and then they're binging all weekend. And you don't want to get into that groove.
So how do you do it to where you allow yourself to, have a cheat? Let's say you decide, okay, I'm not going to do it on the weekends, but you allow yourself to have the burger or the whatever, and it's, not random and it's not your planned weekend. So it's sort of safer to have that cheat.
This is what I do. I almost kind of like convince myself and trick myself that I'm gonna, let's just say, my regular day and my regular everyday is living a lifestyle of eating clean and working out. So everything else that I do is extra. Okay. So just like breathing and eating and doing my regular day, part of it is meal planning, eating my meals, working out, and staying focused. Now, if I want to do something that's not part of my everyday thing, I choose the day that I'm going to do it. So I'm going to say, all right, next month is my birthday. I'm going to eat cake and I'm going to eat pizza.
Okay.
I choose the day. Next week, my brother is coming into town and he's going to want to go out. Every day, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to choose one day. I'm going to go out with him. I'm going to have a beer and have something. You choose those days.
Okay. So instead of it being like, it's been a long day, so I'm going to treat myself. Don't do that.
No.
Because that's what'll kick you off the wagon. Don't say, oh, the weekend is just a free for all festival of whatever.
Exactly.
Say, okay, next week, Wednesday is going to be my cheat day. And maybe the next week or the next 2 weeks or whatever, Friday, because of this event. So the science around it is you're telling your brain you're maintaining control of your actions instead of your actions, getting control over you, is what I'm hearing you say.
100%. Exactly. It's just like when you run businesses, you have everything scheduled, right? I have a meeting at this time. I have to do this. I have to do this. I do the same thing with eating and cheat and doing it the same thing with a cheat meal. I schedule it so I don't let my brain, because your brain is the most powerful muscle in your body. And most of us can't really control nothing from what we're doing.
Right.
We try, but it's very powerful. So I schedule it. I program my brain and schedule the day that I'm going to do whatever I need to do. Mm-hmm. And I do it only one time. I don't do it the whole day. People have cheat days. I have cheat meals.
Gotcha. Okay. That's the other thing too.
We don't,
Let's have pancakes in the morning. Yeah. Beer and sausage for lunch, and then a pie and ice cream for dinner on the entire day. Okay. So you have so instead of looking at your life like the days, you look at your life in moments, which is healthier anyway. It's healthier to do that anyway.
Yes. And I told you earlier in the interview that this is how I live my life. Honestly, I live it by the hour, by the moment. And that got created in my train of thought because of the way I grew up. I couldn't depend on tomorrow. I'm just depending on what's going to happen next, what's going to happen next hour, what's going to happen tonight. So this is how I incorporated that train of thought with the way I live now. What happens now? Even if something, so that's why I get away from it right away. Even if something happens right now, I take it, I accept it, I see how I deal with it, and the next hour or the next minute, I do something else. I don't let it bother me because I just keep moving. I just keep moving forward. And that's the hardest thing to do with being fit and eating healthy, honestly, because people, all it takes is one thing to affect them and then they drown. and
Right.
they drowned and they drowned, and then they can't get out of it. They don't know how to get out of it. And then it's been hours and days and weeks and months now. That's why I always tell people and my clients, usually my clients, honestly, I don't tell them to have a cheat meal because I don't give them rope. I don't give them permission to do any of that. I know they're gonna have a cheat meal. So because if I say have a cheat meal, they're gonna have two cheat meals. If I don't say anything, they might have one cheat meal. So I just don't
Mm,
say much, you know. So but the cheat days if you're having a cheat day, which most people that's what they start getting into, it, it just sets you backwards, and you're behind now on your getting your mind there and getting mentally strong to stay on track. Like I said, I pick the days, and I do have things, and I pick the days. And then what starts happening, honestly, is that once you get to that level of living this lifestyle and feeling good and whatever it is, you're looking better and everything, you're sleeping better, mentally you're feeling better, you're
right.
not going to want to have all the other stuff. It's going to make you feel like crap. You're not going to want it.
Right.
You're going to crave it. Once you have it, you're going to feel so bad about it. Like physically, you're going to feel bad about it because my
Yeah.
stomach hurts now when I eat something. So your body doesn't know any better. It doesn't know if you're living in Beverly Hills or the desert or the forest. All it knows is what you're feeding it and how it's going to react to it. It doesn't
Right.
know. So if you feed it clean and then you put something bad in there, it's going to say, wait a minute, what's going on? I don't want this. You're going to stop feeling bad. It's going to react to it. So I honestly, that's my whole philosophy about it. That's how I live my life. And that's how I try to tell my clients how to do it.
It's funny. I don't know if I've said this before or not, but I remembered I started doing these. They're not cleanses; they're pure. It's called a purification program by Standard Process, and it was really good for me to help with
Mhm.
an eating disorder for binge eating because I got through a 21-day purification program, which taught me I can have control over food. That I did this freaking
Mhm.
thing, and it was great, and it cleans out your system. I'm not recommending it to anyone else, just it was good for me, and I've been doing those ever since. And I used to think, oh, in the beginning I was like, oh well, I'm cleaning my body out so well. And you eat all organic, and you eat only fruits and vegetables, and all that stuff while you're doing these shakes and supplements and whatever, and you aren't hungry for crappy stuff after you do that. And you stop
Mhm.
having body odor by like day 7. It's amazing what happens. But
Yep.
I used to think, oh well, okay, well now I can have a cheat day and or a cheat moment
Mhm.
and eat something
Yep.
really crappy, and my body's so clean that it'll be able to handle it better, and it won't be a big deal. Oh no,
Mhm.
no, 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 that is not how it works.
Yep.
If you eat clean like that and then you go
Yep.
and eat something crappy, you're like, god, this is awful. What happened? Like your body
Yep.
rejects that stuff like immediately.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean I go through the same thing. If I go on vacation, sometimes I'm really scared to eat bad because I'm just like this is gonna ruin my vacation. So even if I go to a resort or something and they have all you can eat food, I stick to protein. I
Mm,
might have something bad one day or maybe during the day or in the morning that I know I have access to my room because I'm like I don't know what's gonna happen. It's I might just I might just fall ill the rest of the day. My stomach might hurt. I'm screwed. And I'm only here for 4 days, so I don't want to ruin it. So
right.
that you start thinking that way. So that's why like I can't have a lot of stuff, but people need to get to that point, and to get to that point is just to follow that track, follow that state of mind that um, just take it 1 hour at a time. Don't worry about if you messed up. Don't worry about that. Just take it one day, 1 hour at a time. That's all it is. Get back on the track. Don't fall off and stay off. Don't do that. Don't binge. Don't binge the whole weekend. Don't binge 4 days in a row and then start on Monday. Start on Monday is just convincing yourself that I'll be all right. I'm gonna start on Monday. And the more you do that, the more it's the same thing as you going into rehab and relapsing, going into
Yes.
rehab and relapsing over and over. It's the same concept.
That's so true. That's so absolutely true because how
Yeah.
many people just don't? You say you're going to do it, and then you add the added, I've let myself down again, shame spiral, and then it's
Yes,
even harder to climb up that.
exactly.
So
And
tell our listeners what you're going to be focused on and why would they listen to your show?
from I think I've said everything that I'm going to be focused on already, but um, I'm really gonna be focused on mental toughness. I really believe in I think all this has to do with mental toughness. This has nothing to do with physical. It has nothing to do with your body. Your body's just the machine you're operating it. And if we don't get the person that's in there operating correct, which is your mind and your brain, your train of thought, it's very difficult to get where you need to get. It's very difficult to operate it. So, and if your mind is not there, the person operating this machine, or think about it, someone operating a big machinery and he's drunk, it's
Right.
not going to work out. It's going to destroy everything around him. It's the same thing. So people need to get focused. People need to meditate. I believe people need to be part of a community that other people are suffering from the same thing, just like me. Like I said, people look at me, they're like, oh man, you're perfect. I wish you never been overweight. You never did this. You always been fit. Well, that's true. I've never been overweight, but I've been working out hard all my life, through depression, through feeling bad, through trauma. So everybody has something. Everybody has something. And the more people realize that and we can talk to each other about it, the more we can all get to this final destination together.
So I'd say for me, just as an example, as I get back into, which I have been recently, into taking care of myself physically through exercise. I already do the eat clean part, but the exercise piece, I would turn on your show and listen to any podcast that you do so that I'd have you and your motivation in my ear, and I would probably do it even
Yes.
when I really don't want to do it. And so all I can do is
Yes.
just turn on the show, because at some point during listening to you for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, I'm going to go, okay, that's just enough to motivate me to get off my ass. That's what I'm thinking
For
that it would
sure.
be.
That's the main focus, is that the mental toughness that I care about. But of course, there's many other factors under that. But I just want people to be there mentally first. But I have so much information about food and what you should eat. Because even people say to me, I'm eating clean. I'm eating clean. Nothing's happening. Then I say to them, okay, let me write down, what are you eating? And then
Right.
we find out they're not eating clean. They think they're eating clean. It could be a small adjustment,
Mm.
but they don't know about it because they don't know about that. All they know is, all right, well, this says it's clean. This one says it's organic. Let me eat that. Well, what time are you eating that? How much are you eating from that? Was it
Right.
packaged? All these things make a difference. So
Right.
I'm going to be talking about all that stuff. And, but I focus on mental toughness because if you think about it as a pyramid, that's on the top of the pyramid. Everything
Mm.
else trickles down: food, exercise, sleep, water intake, all the other stuff.
Okay. Well, I'm going to look at it just for myself. So, what I'm going to do, everybody, because I struggle with this too, is I am going to just make it a point to subscribe to the show. It's the Paul David Effect. It's on the network. You can find it on iTunes and Stitcher and all that. And that way, I just am listening to it every day for whatever it is that you're going to talk about. And then that will help me get into the mode of mental toughness so that I then go do something about that.
Awesome.
Okay, awesome. Well, where else can they find out about you?
They can find me on pretty much all the social media platforms. On Facebook, I'm under Paul David Effect, Instagram, Paul David Effect, and also YouTube, Paul David Effect.
And you have your website, Paul David Effect, also.
Yes,
Awesome.
website, pauldavideffect.com.
Well, I'm excited about this. I'm happy that you're on the network, and welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate you very much.
And listeners, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Mental Health News Radio.
I know, no one likes commercials, but seriously, folks, without the help from these organizations, we could not stay on the air. Please give a shout out to zencharts.com. If you're a mental health or addiction treatment center, you'll want to use their EHR. It's gorgeous, and they're just good people. and also mygenetics, mygenetx.com, because knowing your genetic code empowers your mental health treatment. And lastly, copenotes.com. We love getting positive messages right to our phones every day from Johnny Crowder. He's the lead singer of Prison, a heavy metal band sharing their music about suicide prevention, addiction recovery, and mental health. See, that was painless. Support them as they support us. Back to the show.
Sometimes I'm passive aggressive, but never without good intentions. I heat up and act on my emotions.
Thanks so much for listening to Mental Health News Radio. Our podcast can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, and hundreds of other podcast apps, or you can visit our website at mentalhealthnewsradio.com. If you have a question or would like to be a guest, become a podcaster on our network, or join the amazing organizations that help keep us on the air, please email us at info@mhnrnetwork.com. Get ready for that special goodbye from our resident therapy dog, Miles, and a special thanks to Emily Sohn for letting us use her incredible song, Cordial, for our podcast music. Listen to the full song on SoundCloud at emily.sonne.
Don't be surprised when I don't hate on you. After all, we promised we'd be cordial. Sometimes in you I can fight it.
Good boy.